Hello. Good evening. It is day 103 of reading the Bible in a year. And yes, I did have a couple of days of not reading. Yeah, yeah. Things going on in life, as usual. Right. Now, I've got 3 readings to do today on day 103 of reading the Bible in a year. Yay. And it is the first reading, and I'll be reading 2 Samuel chapters 18, 19, and 20. And that is a lot to read. Righty-ho, let's get reading. Absalom's defeat and death. And David numbered the people who were with him, and set captains of thousands and captains of hundreds over them. Then David sent out 1/3 of the people under the hand of Joab, 1/3 under the hand of Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, and 1/3 under the hand of Ittai the Gittite. And the king said to the people, I also will surely go out with you myself. But the people answered, You shall not go out. For if we flee away, they will not care about us, nor if half of us die, they will care about us. Will they care about us? But you are worth 10,000 of us now, for you are now more help to us in the city. Then the king said to them, Whatever seems best to you, I will do. So the king stood beside the gate, and all the people went out by hundreds and by thousands. Now the king had commanded Joab, Abishai, and Ittai, saying, Deal gently for my sake with the young man Absalom. And all the people heard when the king gave all the captains orders concerning Absalom. So the people went out into the field of battle against Israel. And the battle was in the woods of Ephraim. The people of Israel were overthrown out there before the servants of David, and a great slaughter of 20,000 took place there that day. For the battle there was scattered over the face of the whole countryside, and the woods devoured more people that day than the sword devoured. Were there ents in the forest that were eating the people? I don't know. Then Absalom met the servants of David. Absalom rode on a mule. The mule went under the thick boughs of a great terebinth tree. Let's read that sentence again. The mule went under the thick boughs of a great terebinth tree, and his head caught in the terebinth. So he was left hanging between heaven and earth, and the mule which was under him went on. Now a certain man saw it and told Joab, and said, I have just saw Absalom hanging in the terebinth tree. Oh. So Joab said to the man, Who told you? You just saw him? And why did you not strike him there on the ground? I would have given you 10 shekels of silver and a belt. But the man said to Joab, Though I were to receive 1,000 shekels of silver in my hand, I would not raise my hand against the king's son. For in the hearing of the king commanded you and Abishai and Ittai, saying, Beware lest anyone touch the young man Absalom. Therefore I would have dealt falsely against my own life. For there is nothing hidden from the king, and you yourself would have set yourself against me. Then Joab said, I cannot linger with you. And he took 3 spears in his hand and thrust them while he was still alive in the midst of the terebinth tree. The And 10 young men who bore Joab's armor surrounded Absalom and struck him and killed him. So Joab blew the trumpet, and the people returned from pursuing Israel. For Joab held back the people, and they took Absalom and cast him into a large pit in the woods, and laid a very large heap of stones over him. Then all Israel fled, and everyone to his tent. Now Absalom in his lifetime had taken and set up a Joab said to him, You shall not take the news this day, for you shall take the news another day. But today you shall take Why will you run, my son, since you have no news ready? But whatever happens, let me way of the plain and outran the Cushite. Really? Wow. Now David was sitting between the two gates, and the watchman went up near. Then the watchman saw another man running, and the watchman called to the gatekeeper. Then he bowed down with his face to the earth before the king and blessed, and he said, Blessed be the Lord your God, who has delivered and stand here. So he turned aside and stood still. Then the Cushite came, and the Cushite said, Absalom safe? So the Cushite answered, May the enemies of my lord the king, and all who rise against you, do harm Absalom. If only I had died in your place, oh, Absalom, my son, my son! turned into mourning for all the people, for the people heard it said that day, "The king is grieved for his son." Absalom! Oh, Absalom, my son! My son! Lives of your concubines, in that you love your enemies and hate your friends. For you have declared today that you have comfort to your servants. For I swear to by the Lord, if you do not go out, not one will stay with you this night, and that will be worse for you than all the evil that has befallen you from your mouth until your youth until now. Then the king arose and sat in the gate, and they told all the people, saying, "There is the king sitting in the gate." So all the people came before the king, for everyone of Israel had fled to his tent. His son had just been killed. Doesn't matter what his son had done, like going against David, almost doing a rebellion. Well, actually doing a rebellion. Only because David didn't act in the way that Absalom had wanted for the of his sister. Yep. If David had acted the way that Absalom had wanted, then Absalom wouldn't have done all that he did. Alright, let's keep reading. David returns to Jerusalem. Now all the people were in dispute throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, "The king has saved us from the hand of our enemies. He delivered us from the hand of the Philistines, and now he has fled from the land because of Absalom. But Absalom, whom we anointed over us, has died in battle. Now therefore, why do you say nothing about bringing back the king?" So King David sent to Zadok and Abiathar the priests, saying, "Speak to the elders of Judah, saying, why are you the last to bring the king back to his house, since the words of all Israel have come to the king, to his very house? You are my brethren, and you are my bone and flesh. Why are you the last to bring back the king? And say to Amasa, are you not my bone and my flesh? God do so to me, and more also, if you are not commander of the army before me continually in the place of Joab." So he swayed the hearts of all the men of Judah, just as the heart of one man, so that they sent this word to the king, "Return, and all your servants." Then the king returned and came to the Jordan, and Judah came to Gilgal to meet the king, to escort the king across the Jordan. And Shimei, the son of Gera, a Benjamite, who was from Bahraim, hurried and came down with the men of Judah to meet the king. There were 1,000 men of Benjamin with him, and Ziba, the servant of the house of Saul, and his 15 sons and 20 servants with him. And they went over to the Jordan before the king. Then a ferry boat went across to carry over the king's household and to do what he thought good. David's mercy to Shimei. Now Shimei the son of Gera fell down before the king when he had crossed the Jordan. And he said to the king, "Do not let my lord impute iniquity to me, or remember what wrong your servant did on the day that of my lord the king left Jerusalem. That the king should take it to heart, for I your servant know that I have sinned. Therefore here I am, the first to come today of all the house of Joseph to go down to meet the Lord the king." But Abishai the son of Zeruiah answered and said, Shall not Shimei be put to death for this, because he cursed the Lord's anointed? And David said, What have I to do with you, you sons of Zeruiah, that you should be adversaries to me today? Shall any man be put to death today in Israel? For I do not know that today I am the king over Israel. For do I not know that today I am king over Israel? I need to read this bit more smoothly. Therefore the king said to Shimei, You shall not die. And the king swore to him that he would not die. It didn't use curse words or anything. David and Mephibosheth meet. Now Mephibosheth, the son of Saul, came down to meet the king, and he had not cared for his feet, nor trimmed his moustache, nor washed his clothes from the day the king departed until he returned in peace. So it was, when he had come to Jerusalem to meet the king, but that the king said to him, Why did you not go with me, Mephibosheth? And he answered, My lord, O king, my servant has saved me, for your servant said, I will saddle a donkey for myself, that I may ride on it to go to the king, because your servant is lame. And he was slandered for your servant to my lord the king. For my lord the king is like the angel of God. Therefore do what is good in your eyes. For all my father's house were dead men before my lord the king. Yet you set your servant among those who eat at your own table. Therefore what right have I still to cry out any more to the king? So the king said to him, Why do you speak any more of your matters? I have said, You and Ziba divide the land. Then Mephibosheth said to the king, Rather let him take it all, inasmuch as my lord the king has come back in peace to his own house. Wow. David's kindness to Barzillai. And Barzillai the Gileadite came down from Rogelim, and went across the Jordan with the king to escort him across the Jordan. Now Barzillai was a very aged man, 80 years old, and he had provided the king with supplies while he stayed at Mahanaim, for he was a very rich man. And the king said to Barzillai, Come across with me, and I will provide for you while you are with me in Jerusalem. But Barzillai said to the king, How long have I to live, that I should go up with the king to Jerusalem? Today I am 80 years old. Can I discern between the good and bad? Can your servant taste what I eat or what I drink? Can I hear any longer the voice of the singing men and the singing women? Why, then, should your servant be a further burden to my lord the king? Your servant will go a little way across the Jordan with the king, and why should the king repay me with such reward? Please let your servant turn back, that I may die in my own city. near the grave of my father and mother. But here is your servant Chimham. Let him cross over with my lord the king, and do for him what seems to be good to you. And the king answered, Chimham shall cross over with me, and I will do for him what seems good to you. Now, whatever you request of me, I will do for you. Then all the people went over the Jordan, and when the king had crossed over, the king kissed Barzillai and blessed him, and he returned to his own place. The quarrel about the king. Now the king went on to Gilgal, and Chimham went on with him, and all the people of Judah escorted the king, and also half the people of Israel. Just then all the men of Israel came out to the king, and said to the king, Why have our brethren, the men of Judah, stolen you away, and brought the king, his household, and all David's men with him across the Jordan? So the men of Judah answered the men of Israel, Because the king is close relative of ours. Why then are you angry over this matter? Have we ever eaten at the king's expense, or has he given us any gift? And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah, and said, We have 10 shares in the king, therefore we also have more right to do. Then do you despise us? Were we not the first to advise bringing back our king? Yet, the words of the men of Judah were fiercer than the words of the men of Israel. I've still got one more chapter to read. I will stop there for today, for this reading for today. Right, because I do not want to go on for too long. Yeah. Alright, I will stop there. And I will see you in the next reading, which will be in a minute.